Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Thank you very much, ICT. And members, I'm being asked to remind you all to put your cards in, please. Otherwise, you're not reported as being here tonight. All right. Members, I know that you've all received a copy of opening announcements, but there is one particular that I would like to draw to your attention tonight, and that's the death of the former SDLP councillor from the legacy Craigavon Borough Council, Peter Bunting, and he served in this council from May 1985 to May 1989. Some of you may or may not know that Peter was also the father of our duty officer, Peter Bunting, who we all really respect, and we just want to pass on our sincere condolences to the members of his family circle at this very sad time. Thank you. Members, I don't normally, and I'm not going to normally make this a habit of telling you everything that I have been involved in doing, otherwise we'll be here for 9 o'clock tonight. But I just thought that tonight especially, that on your behalf, I want to congratulate and thank our staff. Since becoming Lord Mayor, I have had the privilege and honour of accepting numerous awards on behalf of the council. And today, along with a number of our staff, I was in Newry accepting the Green Flag Awards. Now, what is that? Those flag awards recognise excellence in the management of public space. And we were actually awarded here today 5 of those flags. But we have also won, and I don't want to just single out that initiative, but we have also won awards in tourism, healthy eating, getting active initiatives, and so much more. And on your behalf, as I say, I just want to recognise the teams involved by congratulating them and saying thank you, and we appreciate all the work they have done and everything that they have achieved. So I just hope you don't mind me taking those few minutes to thank our staff. Members, I'm just moving on then to apologies. And do I have any apologies from the floor? I don't see any lights on, so I'm just going to move on. And then, sorry. Okay, ICT with no screens. Is there? Yeah. They'll work that out for us while we move on. Could I have a proposer and a seconder for the minutes of the council meeting held on the 26th of June 2023, please? A proposer and a seconder, please. Members, the silence is deafening. Councillor Savage, thank you. And Alderman Moutry, thank you. Councillor McClelland, are you looking to raise a point? Yeah.
Okay, Lord Mayor. Yeah, I really appreciate you letting me in. And the item I'm raising is C191/2023. And given that the minute says that that the Chief Executive will ensure that a meeting would be arranged as soon as possible, my question to the Chief Executive is to ask for an update as to where we are in arranging this important meeting. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
And Councillor McClelland, would you be surprised if we didn't expect that question? So the Chief's happy to take that, yep.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and good evening, members. Just to say to Councillor McClelland, officers have been in touch with DFI, and we're currently trying to identify a date for that meeting. I know it's an important one for Council. It's been raised a number of times, so we're working to try and identify that date.
Do you want to come back on that?
Yes, Lord Mayor, and thank you for indulging me in terms of letting me back in. And I welcome the response from Roger, and I certainly hope and trust that officers are doing everything that can be done to arrange this meeting, because in the meantime, constituents in right across our borough, including in my own Lagan River DEA, have to travel on substandard roads day after day. Lord Mayor, it's just not good enough, and it's just not fair. So we need this meeting as soon as possible. Thank you.
No, certainly a point well made, and Roger will be following that up again. Councillor McClelland. Alderman Moutray.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I wanted to raise the same point, but Councillor McClelland beat me to it. So I'm content to leave it. But can I just make a clarification in relation to C188, the evening praise service in Lurgan Park? It was I actually who made the proposal, not Councillor Baxter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Alderman Moutray. Members content to move on? Okay. Agenda item 2.2 then. So if I could have a proposer and a seconder of the minutes of the special council meeting held on Wednesday, the 19th of July passed. And can I also thank our staff for getting the minutes put together very, very quickly. Thank you for that. Alderman Burns has agreed to propose. Do we have a seconder? Alderman Kennedy. Thank you. Members, agenda item number 3, declarations of interest. If we're content to do that as normal as we go along, okay. Item 4.1, the minutes of the planning and committee services. Could I ask Alderman Barr? Were you there at the meeting? Correct. Yes. Thank you. And seconded then by Alderman Kennedy. Thank you. Thank you. Members, nothing rising from that? No, we're content. Agenda item number 5, Chief Executive's report then. So we have a number of items for decision. Item 5.1, we have consultation on extending the provisions within Schedule 27 of the Coronavirus Act 2020. Anne McGeown is coming in. I believe she's online. If I stop speaking, she will.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Good evening, members. Members, this is a report asking for your retrospective approval to a response to a recent Department of Justice consultation. The Department of Justice issued a consultation to ascertain from main users of the live links in the courts and tribunal system their views upon any further extension of the live link provisions created by the Coronavirus Act. They asked that the Council's Planning Department be involved, and they have been. Officers submitted a response to the consultation document in order to meet the closing date of the 4th of July, accompanied by a comment that it is subject to approval of Council. Council's legal and planning officers have utilised the live links in the court system and found it a more efficient use of time and resources. We've also availed of the opportunity to physically attend court when the complexities of the matter required it. Consequently, officers have indicated in the response their view that provisions for remote hearings should be extended beyond September 2023. And in the response, Council officers have also commented that the flexibility of the hybrid approach is welcomed. Members, a copy of the consultation and response was appended to the report, but I'm happy to take any queries that members may have.
Okay, Anne. Members, do we have any questions for Anne? Just checking Zoom. No, we have no questions. Members, could we have a proposer and a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Lavery. Proposed by and seconded by? It's not that scary, members. Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Appreciate that. Okay. And thank you, Anne, for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Right, members, 5.2 community planning. Could I have a proposer and a seconder for the consultation documents? I'm assuming everyone has read those and is content with the information. So could I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Savage, and a seconder. Councillor Ferguson, thank you. 5.3 then, I'm going to hand over to Kate McCusker, our Senior Solicitor, to present this report. Kate is also joining us online.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Good evening, members. I'm here to seek your approval for the replacement of the current contract procedure rules in the Constitution with revised contract procedure rules, and also for Article 11.5 of the Constitution to be...
Kate, I apologise for interrupting you, but I'm getting faces from members that are maybe struggling to hear you. Could you turn the volume up a little bit, please? Thank you.
Is that any better, Lord Mayor? Good evening, members. I'm here to seek your approval for the replacement of the current contract procedure rules in the Constitution with revised contract procedure rules, and also for Article 11.5 of the Constitution to be amended and for a new process to be adopted on the application of the Common Seal to documents. Members, you should hopefully have a copy of my report on this and a copy of the proposed contract procedure rules, which I've drafted. You'll note in the report that it's a legislative requirement that we enter into contracts in accordance with our standing orders. We do have contract procedure rules in our Constitution. However, they're not really rules, they're more a set of terms and conditions for the purchase of goods and services, and they haven't been updated since 2015, containing references to out-of-date legislation. It's therefore been necessary for the rules to be updated and to take a form which reflect being rules rather than contract terms and conditions. Please note that the key procedures in the revised contract procedure rules about contracts aren't new, they're already in our Constitution, but not in one place and not easy to locate. You'll see that the rules basically take the form of a guidance manual to assist officers when seeking to enter into a contract, and it's therefore proposed that the current contract rules in the Constitution be removed and be replaced with the revised rules at Appendix 1 of your report. Moving on to the application of the Common Seal, you'll also see in the report that I've proposed how we change how the Common Seal is affixed to documents. At present, Article 11.5 of the Constitution requires the affixing of the Common Seal to be attested, basically witnessed by council at the full council meeting each month. This is not a legislative requirement that the affixing of the Common Seal must be witnessed by council, and it's not deemed to be commercially expedient or practical to only permit contracts to be sealed and completed once a month at the full council meeting. The current arrangement can be an issue, especially in relation to contracts needing to be executed quickly, where there's a funding deadline or where services need to be provided immediately. As previously stated, it's not a legislative requirement that the affixing of the Common Seal must be witnessed by council, and a number of other local councils, as set out in the report, delegate the attesting and affixing of the Common Seal to their Lord Mayor or Deputy and to senior officers. It's therefore proposed that we adopt the same arrangement for the reasons already mentioned, and that Article 11.5 is amended to allow the attestation of the Common Seal to be delegated to the Lord Mayor and Deputy and to senior officers when signing. It's also proposed that we adopt the wording used by Belfast City Council, which is also set out in the report. This would mean that every document which needs to be executed using the Common Seal still requires a resolution of council with oversight and authority by members. However, the administrative task of sealing the document will be carried out by the Lord Mayor and senior officers when required. Thank you, members. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Okay, Kate, thank you for that. Members, just to clarify with yourselves, Kate was streaming online, okay? So members that were zooming in could hear that even though we couldn't see her on the screen. We're going to finish this section here and then we're going to take an adjournment to reset the system to ensure that members are seen on the screen and everything's heard online sufficiently. So, but we're going to finish this part first of all anyway. Alderman Baxter, you'd indicated to speak.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And I think it was myself that actually asked for this to be delayed until tonight's meeting to get some more clarity. And I've spoken to Kate about it as well. So yeah, there's a good paper trail there and a couple of other things clarified as well. So yeah, happy with the explanation, happy to propose if that needs a proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Baxter. Could I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Mackle. Members, we're going to take a few minutes, 5-minute adjournment just to reset the system and hopefully it'll be up and running again. So thank you. If I could ask ICT to turn off the live feed. Thank you. Let me know when the live streaming has started again. Okay, members, we're good to go. So agenda item number 6, schedule of correspondence. We have 2 items. Any questions, members? Okay, nothing. I think, do we need a... No, if you have any comments, basically, members, if you want to feed them through to member services, that's good. Agenda item number 7, then we have a number of documents requiring corporate seal. If we're content to take those in blocks, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5. Could I have a proposer and a seconder? Okay, thank you, Councillor Wilson, and seconded by Alderman Greenfield. Thank you. Agenda item number 8, notice of motion, and I'm going to hand over to Councillor O'Hanlon to take us through the notice of motion.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight in the motion in my name and seconded by Alderman Berry. This is the 4th time this matter has been discussed at Council in some shape or another, but tonight is the first time that I've really intend to speak in some depth. I've been an elected representative for 18 years, and it has been the honour of my life. I've always worked across parties and across communities. My politics is one of inclusion, of cooperation and consensus. And I don't just say that. I do that in the way I work in this chamber, in the committees, and indeed by the way I represent everyone from every community who approach me. In 2015, whenever this council was formed, all parties set out to be inclusive, to work in partnership with one another and work together to make this a better place to do business in. The Party Leaders Forum was set up to reflect that ethos and that approach. And it worked well when we had 4 main parties, UKIP and Councillor Berry as an independent. It worked well when the then Councillor Jones became an independent in the first term. And in the last mandate with 5 parties and Councillor Berry. And now before I go any further, I acknowledge the outcome of the council elections in May and the change in the makeup of this chamber. I know I'm a sole representative of my party. But what I cannot get around my head around is why someone or a group of colleagues would seek to exclude me, Councillor Radcliffe and Alderman Berry from the forum. Surely the ethos of this council remains the same. That is, inclusive and working together. Now, we've been told in recent debates that it's a meaningless forum. So why exclude us from it? If it's that meaningless, why have it in the first place? Councillor Paul Duffy told us that our exclusion was to save money, yet he proposed the reallocation of the monies to committee vice chairs. Alderman Berry, Radcliffe and myself have said we'd forego any allowance, so that blows that argument out of the water. So what does this come down to? Control and exclusion. Last week, Councillor Nelson told us that we would be informed of what came out of those meetings. Well, I didn't stand for election or come into this chamber to be told anything that others have decided for me. I want to be part of a decision-making process, not some sort of messenger boy for whatever Councillor Nelson wants me to know. Some say it's only party leaders, and yet the Lord Mayor of the day sits in that forum to ensure she or he is aware of what's going on. Some have made this more about more unionists on the Party Leaders Forum. That's not my argument. But I can see why some might want to exclude those who disagree with them. The DUP want to exclude the TUV and Alderman Berry, and Sinn Féin want to exclude the SDLP. A marriage of convenience, some might say. Or one that was delivered by Councillor Nelson when she whispered into Alderman Baxter's ear in the Party Leaders Forum downstairs was just before the AGM. We'll get rid of O'Hanlon you get rid of Barry and Radcliffe. I don't know if that's what was said, but that's what it might have been. Well, to quote someone else.
Councillor Hanlon, if you can keep your comments from being personal, please. Thank you.
Sorry.
Members, through me, Councillor O'Hanlon, just keep your comments. Right. I would actually like the record to be corrected. What 1 wee second. I call you.
Could I ask that the record is corrected, because I absolutely did not say that at any point. I did not whisper that. I did not suggest it. Councillor O'Hanlon has put into the public domain that I may have said that. That actually could put me in a very precarious position out in the community. So I would ask him to either clarify that that is something that he has dreamt up and imagined, or that he withdraws those remarks immediately.
Councillor Hanlon, I'll hand back to you now to make that decision.
Lord Mayor, the words I said was, I don't know if that's what was said, but it's what might have been.
Yes, Councillor Hanlon, I've took your mic because I genuinely want this to be factual, and I want you to stick to your point that's in order, because I don't think that's an avenue you want to be travelling down.
Okay, strike that line from the record. I'll quote someone else. I haven't gone away, and I certainly don't intend to. There are ramifications for every decision in this place. The scheme of delegation refers to party leaders in some decisions, where it refers to the party leaders forum in others. Who do officers consult when it comes to simple things such as lighting of buildings, or any of the other issues that we regularly get calls from officers about? Will our chief executive have to set up 2 forums each month? For I want the same treatment for the people I represent as Councillor Duffy or Councillor Evans does at either side of me. I don't want a briefing paper. I want a full meeting with senior officers, presentations, the lot. I may not have a group to lead, but I have a voice and I intend to use it. Last week, there was a proposal put on the table that Councillor Radcliffe and Alderman Barry could join the DUP group, or that the 3 of us could rotate membership of the party leaders forum. To me, that builds in us and them mentality in the chamber. And this, which has thus far escaped this place. Members, in 18 years, I have stayed away from petty politics of this nature. This is not my style, nor the way I do business. I want to discuss our filthy streets, the condition of play parks, and the provision of leisure facilities in places like Armagh, which don't have to close because of a shower of rain. I would appeal to colleagues from across this chamber to step back. Don't make the mistakes of places like Stormont. We are better than that. My opposition to the proposal that was carried is about equality. It's about fairness. It's about openness and transparency. It's about decency and respect. It's about honesty and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Hanlon. Alderman Barry.
Thank you, Madam Lord Mayor, and I'm happy to second this motion here tonight in my name and that of others. In 2014, as I've said in previous meetings on Wednesday and in the past, I have had the honour of representing the Cusher ward as an independent from 2014 and before. And it always has been a pleasure to do so with a very strong mandate, and a mandate that has increased every election, which in itself is something to be said. But I don't say that in a boastful manner. I say it in a case that I'm here to represent the people that have elected me to the best ability. And from 2014, I had been a member of the Party Leaders Forum. I know at that time Sinn Féin were opposed to me being on it, as were they in 2019. And I've said before, I left the meeting until the party leaders discussed my membership or not of this particular Party Leaders Forum. And the Chief Executive, Mr. Wilson, came out after quite a long conversation or discussion with the other party leaders to inform me that in 2019 that I would still remain a member of the Party Leaders Forum. The Party Leaders Forum, in my view, has worked well. Some councillors in other parties have differed on that and have shared their views with me in relation to the Party Leaders Forum. But I believe, as people have called it, a sounding board, a discussion group, whatever you want to call it, it was never a decision-making body, but it was an important committee or important body to be on. And I believe that over those 2 terms, that I and others have worked well together and in accordance with good governance, equality and openness. And that's why I fully support this motion here this evening. I'm not one, when you're on a committee or when you're on a particular body, that you actually go to support yourself off it. And that's why I'm standing up tonight for this, because I believe Councillor O'Hanlon, Councillor Ratcliffe and the TUV and the SDLP have a mandate as well. And I believe it is important that everyone who has a mandate is heard. The other group leaders within the DUP, Sinn Féin, Ulster Unionist and Alliance have their group leader there to inform them every month or even more often than that of what is being discussed or what has been informed of in the Party Leaders Forum. And I believe it is vitally important that we also receive that. And as I say, from 2014, I have been on that, probably much to the annoyance of Sinn Féin for whatever reason, but that has happened. And it was with much regret in the Governance and Resources Committee in the confidential business that I read the minutes, and Councillor Paul Duffy had said that these members would hold too much sway. Sway was the name that was used, and that this would be a saving to the council. And as you'll be aware, Madam Lord Mayor, at the last monthly council meeting in June, I had proposed that myself, Councillor O'Hanlon and Councillor Ratcliffe would not be accepting the allowance, because we recognised we were single individual councillors, albeit one with an SDLP, one with the TUV and myself as an independent mandate, and that we would not be receiving allowance. And I was hoping that that would be a way that all parties would be able to support, because it would not be any more financial cost or implications for the council. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about that. And I certainly don't believe that we would be holding more sway than the other 4 main parties in this council. If anybody believes that, they're badly misjudging the situation. I believe that given what has been said and the many discussions and conversations that has been said over and taken place over recent days and weeks, and I believe it was Councillor Catherine Seeley that had mentioned at the last monthly council meeting that the Chief Executive and his officers could also update and could also inform the other 3 councillors of what has taken place at the Party Leaders Forum. And as I've said on Wednesday night, and I'll say it tonight again, in my view, that is clear duplication. It's clear duplication on the fact that when our senior officers are gathered together, their time is precious. Indeed, our time as councillors is precious. And I believe it would be more important that we had everybody sitting around the table at the one table. If it's not a decision-making body, if it's a body that's a sounding board, what is the big problem with 3 other councillors sitting on that Party Leaders Forum to discuss what is best, not for us, but what is best for the ABC Council area and its people? And I think the politics of exclusion is wrong. I believe that it's the wrong direction in which we should go. And I believe for us to continue in our good working relationships, I think it's the best way forward, that we can get back into our Party Leaders Forum, that we can discuss the issues, and then it gets through to committee stage. And I don't believe anybody has anything to fear by 3 other members sitting on the Party Leaders Forum in relation to this particular issue. I know Alderman Baxter who I've worked with very closely over the 2 terms, had proposed on Monday night that we look at 2 different proposals, with either the 3 of us forming a group, or that Keith and myself would attend the DUP group meetings in relation to the party leaders forum. I went back out of courtesy to him after Wednesday via email to inform him that whilst I'm aware he raised those both proposals, I don't think that either of them were actually practical on that basis. And I felt that the way forward, going forward in unity, was to have us all around the table at the same time with the mandates that we have. It has been unfortunate, Madam Lord Mayor, that we haven't found a way forward. It has been unfortunate that much has been said and that we would want to move forward as one in a council together to try and move forward for the good of the council. And I would hope that the fellow councillors would seriously reconsider here tonight what way they intend to vote, and that we could find a way forward at looking at including the 3 councillors, namely Councillor O'Hanlon, Councillor Ratcliffe and myself, on the party leaders forum. And with this then we can go forward as one, and there'll be no duplication. And as I've said before, and it still stands, my proposal still stands, that for the 3 councillors who would be on the party leaders forum or would have the opportunity, that there would still be no remuneration or allowance for them, and that proposal still stands. I believe we need to move forward, as the motion has said, promoting good governance, equality, openness and good working relationships. This has been a blip to the start of our term. There has been much changes from 2014, as has been stated, but I think the best way forward, Madam Lord Mayor, in closing, would be that all councillors around this chamber tonight, from whatever political persuasion they come from, would have a rethink and would seriously consider including the 3 councillors, myself, Ratcliffe and O'Hanlon, on the party leaders forum. And I trust that they will support this tonight. I would like to thank over recent weeks the support from the Ulster Unionist Party and the Alliance Party for supporting us on this, and I would like to thank them publicly for that. Thank you, Madam Lord Mayor.
Councillor Radcliffe.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, for letting me in. This is a very simple matter. It's a case of the 2 largest parties in this council, the DUP and Sinn Féin, deciding at the outset a new council term to form an unholy alliance to sideline others. Given that Sinn Féin continue to defend and justify a campaign which saw the IRA deal with this agreement by way of bullet, I am not surprised that they are behind a proposal which removes the SDLP and 2 unionist voices from this forum. What is less clear to me is the DUP's position, unfortunately. Here we have a party, Lord Mayor, which obtained each and every seat it has on the council on a basis of the elected slogan, "Let's build unionism, not split it." Yet in one of the first decisions of the new council, what do we find? The DUP splitting from other unionists to back the Sinn Féin proposal. Just a few months ago, we all received literature through our letterboxes from the DUP, which on the front right contained a box headed, "Our promise to you." They listed 5 pledges, the 5th of which was, "In this coronation year, we will cooperate with other unionists and put Northern Ireland first." Yet here we are tonight to discuss what? To discuss the DUP not cooperating with other unionists, but siding with Republicans in the coronation year. I appreciate that I am new to council, but as always, I always thought that elected representatives were bound by their promise to the electorate. Do others take a different view? We're about to find out. Unless the DUP find reverse gear in this issue, they will have misled their own voters and treated not just my electorates, but their own with contempt. Let me address directly some of the points which have been made in this issue. We are told that this will merely bring us into line with the practice of other councils. Maybe those who sought to portray themselves as champions of the ratepayer at the last meeting would like to set an example and bring us into line with Mid and East Antrim Council, where allowances for group leaders is 1/3 of what it is here. Perhaps they could be honest with the electorate and tell them, unlike the DUP and Sinn Féin group leaders, Alderman Berry, Councillor O'Hanlon and I were prepared to serve without any additional allowance whatsoever. It has been suggested that Councillor Barry and I could be briefed by Councillor Baxter as part of a DUP group. If the people of Cruiser had wanted another DUP councillor, they could have elected one. There was a candidate in the ballot paper from their party who didn't make it. Furthermore, this disingenuous offer was not made in private, but rather thrown out on the floor of the chamber. That's not how to do business. Finally, it has been suggested to me that there is some sort of parallel between the Party Leaders Forum and the Assembly Commission, and that my leader has been happy to represent someone else. That is nonsense. The Commission is a decision-making body, and Jim's allocated his vote to the DUP representative only on a specific issue of flying the Union flag. Furthermore, he only did that after constructive engagement and discussions with the DUP, something which is tellingly absent within this council chamber, and it's very unfortunate. Lord Mayor, the bottom line to this: do members of the DUP respect their own voters? Page 22 of the 2023 DUP manifesto said, "As unionist parties, we share a great deal more in common than divide us. More effective cooperation is something unionists across Northern Ireland want to see, regardless of their party's preference." Will we find common cause this evening, or will the DUP find themselves dividing unionism and treating not just my electors in Cruiser, but every single person who voted for them on the basis that they would build unionism, not split it with contempt? Lord Mayor, permit me to address the DUP members directly. Be in no doubt that it is what you are doing this evening should you jump into bed again with Sinn Féin. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Baxter.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And first of all, I hadn't planned to actually say this, but this is ABC Council Chamber. It's not Westminster. There's no parliamentary privilege. You can't throw out accusations about councillors totally unfounded, which are a total lie, whether you say, you know, we actually said it or he could have said it. It has put it out there in the public forum that it was possibly said. So unless there's a public apology tonight from Councillor O'Hanlon, I will be going to the Ombudsman first thing, because that was a lie forged in the annals of hell, and he knows it, and he knows it's now in the public domain, and he's hoping that the press will run with it when there's absolutely no truth in it, not one scintilla of truth in it at all. In fact, there was another member of this chamber approached me about it from a different party, and I clarified it with them earlier as well. So there we have it. So if a public apology isn't coming, Councillor O'Hanlon, I will be going to the Ombudsman. Take that as read. Now, listen, I'm not going to rehash everything we've said over the last 3 times we've done this. We're here on the 4th occasion tonight. It's a matter of public record. I stand over everything we've said. We're just coming out of an election. We have now 3 independents or 2 single party representatives and an independent. So it's about good governance and planning and formulating a policy in terms of the group leaders meeting, something that other parties, even here that are against this, done on other councils across the country. We've talked about this and we've discussed it. So it's just about the governance issue, that we believe that you can't be a group leader if you don't lead a group. You know, the mechanism, the role that I have as a group leader is to take information to my colleagues. And my preference tonight is, and I know Alderman Barry and Councillor Ratcliffe have referenced it tonight, I'm not asking them to become a member of the DUP. I'm not asking them to take the party whip. I'm asking them, or putting the offer out there as an olive branch to my unionist colleagues, that unionism is stronger together. And when we have a group meeting, you can come to our group meetings and we can discuss it as united unionists going forward on how we deal with the issues. That doesn't need a council decision. That's a genuine attempt to forge unionist relations with our unionist colleagues. That was my preference. And I know that's been rebuffed both publicly and privately, and that's fine, but that offer is still there. That door is always open, and it's a genuine offer, and it's an offer we have discussed as a party as well. I think unionism stronger together, and that's a genuine offer. So setting that aside, I've listened to the concerns of the 3 members who aren't now afforded a place at party group leader, so we have formulated an amendment. And I think I have sent the amendment to the top table. I think, Roger, you might have it there, just if you want to send it out, or I'm not sure if that can be sent to everyone. So there is an amendment, and this amendment seeks to put a mechanism in place, something which doesn't happen even in other councils, but this puts a mechanism in place where independent single party representatives can have a voice at the party group leaders if they're so minded to do so. So either this is about, you know, the headlines, or this is about actually wanting to get to the table to discuss the issues, because this is a mechanism, this is a compromise position from us, and this is a pathway for independent members to have a voice on that party leaders forum that they've set on such a high stand, that they've set on such a high pedestal. So it's here, and it'll be in the amendment, and I'll read it out to you now. So when we look at the motion, the first paragraph of the motion stays as it is, that we rescind the original decision, and then remove the second paragraph, and instead we say, we adopt a formal policy that to have a place in the party leaders forum, it is a requirement that a party representative must have 2 or more members at the time of election. In the interests of inclusivity, independent and single party members may form a group comprising of at least 2 councillors and sit on the forum on a non-remunerated basis, rotating their representative on the forum as agreed by them. So that's the amendment. It's a genuine attempt to try and resolve the situation. It's a story and an issue that has arisen that has been blown out of all proportion, because fundamentally, Party Leaders Forum is simply a discussion board where information is brought back to councillors. It doesn't make decisions. It never has made decisions. It doesn't have votes. It's never had a vote. It's simply a discussion forum. And it's been put on this pedestal where it's not there. So I just really wanted to make that point and propose that amendment to the motion. Thank you.
And Alderman Baxter, do you have a seconder for that? Alderman Moutry, where I call you.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Happy to second the amendment.
Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Lord Mayor. I have to say that Councillor O'Hanlon afield tonight, and he's someone I have the utmost respect for ordinarily, has really let himself down, showing this for what it really is this evening, which is a self-serving debate. He presented not only a mistruth, but a lie as a fact. And whilst he has struck it off the record, he has not presented any clarity nor apologised. And I would urge him throughout the course of this meeting to do so, or I too will be with the ombudsperson in the morning. The reality in this is that we are going around in circles. 4 times this has been in the chamber. The public decided who would lead a group in May, folks. That's a decision out of anyone's control in this room. They made that decision, they gave the mandate out, and that needs to be respected. So our position remains as was. Parties with 2 or more members have a seat at the table. Those who don't meet that criteria will get updates of matters discussed and therefore matters coming forward, and I have sought assurances on that because I do respect the mandate of individuals of independence, and I do want them in the loop. But we really seriously now need to move on from this tonight, because it's becoming a laughing stock. Anyone that's watching this tonight will be saying, are there not more pressing issues? Because there are. We're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. There's a crisis in housing. There's a crisis on our hospitals, in our schools. Our roads are in the worst state that they've ever been in. And we're sitting here like toddlers in a playground debating this for the 4th time this evening. So I would urge everybody to make their points, get a decision, and let's move on and discuss the issues that matter to the person that we are here to represent.
Members, I don't see anyone else. I'm just checking Zoom. No one else has indicated to speak. Oh, Councillor Lavery.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I wasn't sure if I was going to speak in this chamber tonight on this issue, given my remarks previously last week, but given how the debates unfolded, I think we do need to say something. Firstly, I would comment on the previous speaker. We do have a crisis in our housing. We do have difficulties in hospitals and our schools are in need of funding. But the first proposal that Sinn Féin put down in this chamber was about the exclusion of the SDLP and minority parties from Party Leaders Forum. It's been tried to be addressed as Party Group Leaders Forum, but it is Party Leaders Forum. People have a mandate to be there. And I think we should all acknowledge the proposal from Councillor Barry when he put it down, that he and the other two would be able to attend the meetings without any remuneration. And I thought it was a magnanimous proposal at the time that would have no impact on ratepayer, and yet this too was rejected. As has been said, it wasn't about money, it was about personalities. It was a blatant carve up of power between the Sinn Féin and DUP to get more power to themselves, less power to each other, and have increasing difficulty for smaller parties such as the one I am in to hold them to account. Even the fashion tonight in which they wish to hurry this debate shows that they don't want too many eyes on the issue. I have been contacted by residents in the borough, and they haven't been going along the lines of Alderman Baxter or Councillor Nelson saying that it's a non-issue. They've been asking me about it. They've been saying that it's unfair, and they've been saying that it's wrong, and that will include voters of Councillor Nelson and Alderman Baxter. I think we, as the second largest council in Northern Ireland, the biggest outside of Belfast, can set the standard for inclusive, transparent politics, but that seems not to be the plan of the DUP and Sinn Féin, who have come together in this chamber to stymie debate on this issue and exclude minorities. I'm concerned, Lord Mayor, not only about the state of politics in Northern Ireland, but the state of politics in this chamber. If we are moving away from the inclusive way in which we normally do business, where we hear all voices get their time to speak, all voices are included in the discussion, all voices are informed, and ultimately we do take decisions. When you're not even providing that information to those voices, they become voiceless. The people who elected them rightly to be in this chamber have no elected representative who can hold the powerful to account. That will lead to bad decisions. It will lead to bad decision makers. I would encourage Sinn Féin and DUP to reflect on it even at this state age, to recognise the problems that this will cause, both tonight, the relationships between members, the relationships over the next 4 years, and the decisions which may as well not be taken as well as a result. I'd hope that they would reflect, and instead of ploughing ahead with this carve up upon a carve up, which is Alderman Baxter's proposal, that they instead see sense, and let's work together in the interests of residents of the borough together rather than separately. Thank you.
Councillor Mackle.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. It's just to correct another incorrect statement was made by Councillor Larvey in this instance. The Governance Committee, I proposed about 10 proposals at the Economic Development Committee the night before the Governance Committee. So to say this was the first proposal made by Sinn Féin in this term is just absolute nonsense. And, you know, I don't want to call it something else, but it clearly was.
Thank you, Councillor Mackle. Members, now this time definitely don't see any more lights on. I need to go back now to Councillor O'Hanlon and Alderman Berry. Are they content, happy with the amendment? I'll call you now.
Sorry, Lord Mayor, I think we were told it was going to be circulated.
I don't believe we have that at hand, but can Alderman Baxter, could you take us through that one again, please? And if needs be, members, I'm in your hands. I can do a 5-minute adjournment for you to see that physically in writing, but I'll allow Alderman Baxter to read that first.
Sure, thank you. The first paragraph stays the same, where we rescind the decision. And the second paragraph says, we adopt a formal policy that to have a place in the Party Leaders Forum, it's a requirement that a party representative must have 2 or more members at the time of election. In the interest of inclusivity, independent and single party members may form a group comprising of at least 2 councillors and sit on the forum on a non-remunerated basis, rotating their representative as agreed by them.
Councillor O'Hanlon, would you like an adjournment, or have you heard, are you content?
No, Lord Mayor, I don't need an adjournment. I wouldn't be content to accept the amendment. But just for clarity, I'll ask that my comments earlier are formally withdrawn from the record. I apologise if I have upset some people. I don't want this to be a distraction from the debate. And better than that, some had suggested this is what this is all about. I think you'll find that I'm probably one of the only members in the chamber that hasn't spoken to the media in the last 4 or 5 weeks in relation to this matter. So this is not about...
Councillor O'Hanlon, again, would you stick to facts, please? I certainly haven't been speaking to the media, so please stick to facts whenever you're making comments through the chair. Thank you.
I've said all I need to say, Lord Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Lord Mayor. I would just like clarity from the Chief Executive, because in Councillor Nelson's contribution, instead of Seeley, apologies, in case you take me to the Ombudsman, in that contribution, she had mentioned that she had been fighting for the famous 3 in relation to if this didn't go through tonight, that the Chief Executive and the senior officers would be keeping the 3 members informed, namely Berry, Ratcliffe and O'Hanlon. I would like to hear from the Chief Executive what his thoughts stroke proposals would be on that. That's if this motion in the name of O'Hanlon and Berry doesn't go through.
Alderman Berry, I'm not going to deflect from this notice of motion, okay? So we can come on to that, but I want to deal with what's on the table here at the present. So at the moment, I've spoken to Councillor O'Hanlon and yourself. You're not content with what the amendment is. Am I correct in that?
That's not right.
I can move on to that after we have dealt with the amendment that's on the table at present, because the amendment has nothing to do with what way we move forward. Right, okay. Well, Chief, you content to take that? Okay. I don't want to deflect from what the main thing was on the table. That's the reason.
Thank you, Madam Lord Mayor. I suppose we're obviously in the hands of members, but it would be the officers' intention that there would be a similar meeting arranged as there would be for the Party Leaders Forum. So officers would be able to attend a meeting with Alderman Berry, Councillor Ratcliffe and Councillor O'Hanlon. We will have to get a regular slot in the diary that would align where the Party Leaders Forum would be in advance of that. But effectively it would be like running a second meeting, Madam Lord Mayor.
Alderman Barr. Apologies.
The rules of debate of a motion, I believe.
Sorry, Alderman Baxter.
Councillor Hanlon's already writing the motion, so we can't talk anymore about the motion then until, is that right?
Alderman Baxter, I haven't asked him to wind in the motion yet. I just allowed him to come back in again and asked him the question, would he be prepared to accept the amendment? And he said he wasn't. And Alderman Barry has also said they're not, but I've now had to indicate Alderman Barr. My apologies, but your light was on first, Alderman Barr, but I will call Alderman Burns.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I didn't intend to speak tonight because I thought I'd made myself clear the other night, but I think that the Party Leaders Forum has worked well over this past 8 years, and you know it mentions our Alderman Barry, and Alderman Barry hasn't changed. His party hasn't grown, but he was here. He was here in the first 2 terms as a single member on it. So I don't see where the change has gone. Doesn't matter now the fact that there's 3. But could I just ask for a point of clarification? Does this proposal by, or the amendment by Alderman Baxter exclude the Lord Mayor? Because the Lord Mayor is not a party leader. And again, it's not personal Madam Lord Mayor, it is the office, because it's supposed to be party leaders forum. The Lord Mayor is the elected person within the chamber who presides over the meetings and does all the social activities. But at the same time, the Lord Mayor is not a party leader. So where do we draw the line? It's either party leaders with more than 2 members, or it's not. Just a point of clarification. Thank you.
Alderman Baxter, I'm at your request. The chief executive has informed me that it's as part of your request, your amendment, that it would need clarification with regards to the Lord Mayor.
Yeah, just to clarify that, Lord Mayor, I think I'm going back maybe to Craigavon days. The Lord Mayor was ex officio on everything and was at all committees and all. And I know that's changed now. So if you can give us a couple of minutes, we'll maybe just discuss it. That's okay.
Members, I was going to adjourn, but Councillor Alexander hasn't had an opportunity to speak, so I don't want to adjourn until you've spoken.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Just very quickly, did the Chief Executive say that if they were excluded from Party Leaders Forum, that a second meeting would be set up to inform the 3 individual members? What a complete waste of time if that was to be the case. Why, if that's the case, why would they not be allowed to sit on, the same forum as everybody else? No duplication of effort. Just seems completely pointless to me. Thank you.
Alderman Baxter, would you like me to call you in now? Okay. Alderman Barry, I'm going to call you in for the 3rd time because someone actually said that I was trying to stifle a debate, and I would actually like to clarify that when someone is bringing a notice of motion, and just bear this in mind for the future because I'm not going to allow this in the future. When someone's bringing a notice of motion in the future, they have 5 minutes to speak and the seconder has 3. I was more than gracious with that time and I allowed that excessively to be spoken on. So I just want to make that clear that that will not happen going forward. Otherwise, we could be here to midnight some nights in the middle of the winter. So I am going to be gracious and bring you back in again, Alderman Barry.
Thank you, Madam Lord Mayor, and you have been very gracious during this debate and in the chairing of it, and I thank you for that and for letting me in again. It was just basically going back to the Chief Executive in relation to clarifying what you did say. So we're going to have a Party Leaders Forum and then we're going to have a second, I suppose you could call it another Party Leaders Forum with 3 other members, which is going to be a serious duplication, time and finance, the cost that'll be for bringing senior officers together when we could be in one room together speaking. That's the part that I just don't get my head around, is that the other 3 members could be there working collectively together as one, rather than asking the Chief Executive and other directors for their attendance. So I'm glad that the Chief Executive has clarified that tonight, but I think it's ridiculous, and I seriously think before we make any decision, we'd need to go in and have a conversation.
And perhaps, as Alderman Baxter said, Alderman Barry, that would actually, the amendment would perhaps help that. However, Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Lord Mayor. I'm just trying to get clarity as to where that decision was made about the second meeting. So I'm just trying to understand how that has come about. It was my understanding that those not meeting the criteria for the Party Leaders Forum would be updated, possibly through action points and an email. I at no point understood that it would include a second meeting, so I'm trying to understand where that decision was taken.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. What I did do before I said that was I prefaced it by saying I was in the hands of members. So therefore, it is a matter for members to decide how you wanted to do. But given some of the things that are being considered at party leaders in that discussion forum, for it to be effective for the other 3, that's certainly a way forward. If Council decides it's going to be by way of written briefing, then that's a Council decision, obviously, to do so, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Barr, your light's definitely on this time.
Thank you, Madam Lord Mayor. I think to give yourself a bit of rest here, I think we should have a 5-minute respite, and I make that a proposal. Thank you.
I appreciate you considering my welfare. Thank you, Alderman Barr, but I'm very content. I wanted everyone to have their voices heard prior to me going to an adjournment. So, Alderman Baxter, do you need an adjournment or? Okay.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And much has been said about the Lord Mayoral position on this forum, and it's just something, I suppose, yeah, probably thinking of it just back to Craigavon days when it was ex officio, when the Lord Mayor was always there as their role as sort of apolitical for the year, and just to give them an understanding and afford the position, the respect that the position I feel is first citizen deserves. It's not in the amendment. Yeah, I get that. I take that point on from Alderman Burns, but yeah, it would stand for me and our perspective that the Lord Mayor continues to sit. The Lord Mayor of the day continues to sit on the group leaders forum. Saying that, folks, the Lord Mayor is a very, very busy role. The Lord Mayor rarely attends party group leaders meeting. I would imagine, and I'm sure there's previous Lord Mayors sitting to my right would agree with me in that position. Non-decision making body anyhow, there's no decisions made, so it's not as if it's an extra vote.
Okay. Members, I know Alderman Barr has requested an adjournment, but I mean, at the minute I'm sitting with an amendment on the table. Councillor O'Hanlon, Alderman Barry is not content to accept. So I think perhaps at this stage I need to hand over to Councillor O'Hanlon to wind up on his motion prior to us taking a vote. Well, I can, but then, well, okay, I can do that. But I just thought maybe you wanted to finish off. Okay, members, okay, so I'm going down the old-fashioned route here. And Councillor Alexander, we're voting on the amendment. Yes, no, or abstain. Members, just to aid time, I'm not going to click me and you. You can hear okay?
It's the online people.
It's the online. So I need to call you in. I apologise, this is going to take long. Okay. Councillor Radcliffe, we've already gone into a vote, so I can't call you in.
It's just a clerk.
No. No. No, you're too late. Councillor Alexander. Yes, no, or abstain.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'm voting no.
Okay. Councillor Armstrong.
Voting yes, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Barr.
No.
Yes.
No. No, Lord Mayor.
Neil, no.
No, Lord Mayor.
No.
No, Lord Mayor.
No, Lord Mayor.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Okay, sorry. Councillor Hockey.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Hockian?
No, Lord Mayor.
No, Lord Mayor.
No, Lord Mayor.
Nope.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Ashley Mallon?
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Jude Mallon?
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McCartan?
No, Lord Mayor.
Yes.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McElrath?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
No, Lord Mayor.
No, Lord Mayor.
No, Lord Mayor.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
No, Lord Mayor.
No, Lord Mayor. Yes, Lord Mayor. Yes, Lord Mayor. Yes, Lord Mayor.
Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor McGeown? Okay.
No.
Okay, members, so we had 28 noes and 13 yes. So the amendment falls. So now we need to vote on the, oh, sorry, no, we don't. My apologies. I'm now going to invite Councillor O'Hanlon to round on his motion.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And look, I don't want to prolong the debate any more than we've already had. I think that one thing I would maybe in a last-ditch plea to people to reflect on the way things that have worked in the Party Leaders Forum for the last 8 years, and how in the inclusive approach, how the ethos that we work to delivered well for this organisation and for the people we all represent. This is not about headline grabbing, because that is not my style. But can I thank members for their contribution. And as I say, even at the very last stage, I ask that people reflect on the motion before us and the implications of what the decision we may be just about to take. As the Chief Executive highlighted earlier, where this puts officers in a position, be it on a professional level, but also in terms of wasting time and money. So can I ask that when we do go to a vote, that it is a recorded vote? Thank you.
Okay, members, so this is a recorded vote, and I go through the process again, and we're voting on the original rescinding motion. All right. So yes, no, abstain, Councillor Alexander.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Okay. Members have been told that this me trying to speed up the vote by not calling myself on each time to call each member. I can't do that anymore, so you're going to have to bear with me. I thought I'd found a method of speeding up the vote, but unfortunately not. So I'm going to have to come back to myself to go back to call yourselves. So Councillor Armstrong.
Abstain, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Barr.
Yes, Madam Lord Mayor.
Alderman Baxter.
Abstain.
Alderman Barry.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Burns.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Donnelly.
No.
Councillor Paul Duffy.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Sarah Duffy.
No, Mayor.
Councillor Evans.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Ferguson.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Flaherty.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Greenfield.
Abstain, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Hare.
Abstain, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Hockey.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Hockeyan.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Johnston.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Kennedy.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Lavery. Sorry.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Mackle.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Ashley Mallon.
No, Lord Mayor.
The double no. Councillor Jude Mallon.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McCartan.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McClelland.
Abstain, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McConville Walker.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McElrath.
Abstain, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Moutry.
Abstain, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Moutry.
Abstain, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Mulholland.
Abstain, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Nelson.
No.
Councillor O'Dowd.
No.
Councillor O'Hanlon.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor O'Kane.
No, Lord Mayor.
Rankin. Councillor Radcliffe. Nearly there, folks. Councillor Kevin Savage.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Kyle Savage.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Wilson.
Abstain, Lord Mayor.
Abstain, Lord Mayor.
Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor McKeown.
No, Lord Mayor.
And finally, myself, abstain. Right, just a few minutes, ma'am. Okay, members, so sorry, just 1 wee second. All right. So members, we had 13 members who voted yes, 15 who voted no, 13 abstentions. So the motion has fallen. And because it was a recorded vote, I'll call the names out. So the members that voted yes are Councillor Alexander, Alderman Barr, Alderman Berry, Alderman Burns, Councillor Evans, Councillor Ferguson, Councillor Flaherty, Councillor Johnston, Alderman Kennedy, Councillor Lavery, Councillor O'Hanlon, Councillor Radcliffe, and Councillor Kyle Savage. Those members that voted no, Councillor Donnelly, Councillor Paul Duffy, Councillor Sarah Duffy, Councillor Hockey, Councillor Hockeyan, Councillor Mackle, Councillor Ashley Mallon, Councillor Jude Mallon, Councillor McCartan, Councillor McConville Walker, Councillor Nelson, Councillor O'Dowd, Councillor O'Kane, Councillor Kevin Savage, and Deputy Lord Mayor Councillor McGowan. Members that abstained are Councillor Armstrong, Alderman Baxter, Alderman Greenfield, Councillor Hare, Councillor McClelland, Councillor McElrath, Alderman Moutry, Councillor Moutray, Councillor Mulholland, Alderman Rankin, Alderman Wilson, Councillor Wilson, and myself, Lord Mayor. Alderman Baxter, your light's on. Do you wish to speak? All right. Okay, briefly, yeah.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I want to make this quick point because much was said during the debate about the DUP voted with Sinn Féin originally, and that means that the DUP are in bed with Sinn Féin and they've done a deal with Sinn Féin. So I just want to ask through you to Councillor Radcliffe, now that you voted with Sinn Féin against the DUP amendment, does that mean you're now in bed with Sinn Féin?
Okay. Members, could I seek a proposer and a seconder to go into committee for consideration of confidential items of business, please? Alderman Moutray has proposed. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Mulholland, thank you. Oh, Councillor Radcliffe, you indicate.
Yeah. Just in response to Alderman Baxter's comments there, I think it's just absolutely unbelievable that with them abstaining, they've allowed the Sinn Féin carry this across the line, and that's the high and low. So it is. Thank you.
(9.1) minutes of the council meeting, confidential business. Can I have a proposer and a just thank you again for your time, your patience, and each one of you safe home. Thank you.